Member for Johnston.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Mr Deputy Speaker and the Chamber, what a week. I was there for every hour of the 60 hours of estimates. And I want to say, first of all, my gratitude to everyone who worked so hard. Most of us on the Estimates Committee were new not only to estimates but also to Parliament, and the, as always, incredible support of the DLA staff got us through. The amount of work that you do is often invisible, but we all see it and we all know how imperative it is. And a special mention to our hardworking chair. I think I speak on behalf of all of us when I say we appreciated your clear and fair chairing of the sessions. And thank you to fellow committee members and MLAs, and of course to the amazing public servants who worked incredibly hard to prepare for estimates. I'm sorry that so many of you didn't get the opportunity to answer questions that you had prepared about the work that you do. Estimates is the only formal opportunity we have every year to ask detailed questions about how every dollar is spent and hopefully to get some real answers. At its core, Estimates is about accountability to the people of the Northern Territory. And for anyone who thinks Estimates is boring, I'm here to tell you that it's not. If you listen hard, there's so much to learn, both in what is said and what is not said. Behind each line item is a decision that affects real people, real communities, and real outcomes in health, in education, in infrastructure, and in every part of our lives here in the Northern Territory. And that's one of the things that makes this process so important. And we only have 60 hours every year to do this. Last year, I watched estimates, all of estimates for the first time, and I said, how can that possibly be enough time? And now, having been in it, I can tell you, even though it does feel like a long time when you're there in the room, it's not enough, not even close. We're trying to examine the entire budget of the Northern Territory in that limited window. There's no other forum in this Parliament that allows for line-by-line interrogation of spending decisions. The public deserves better than rushed questioning and constrained time limits. And because we only have 60 hours, that means every minute matters. And when ministers give opening statements, sometimes for longer than 30 minutes, when members of government ask questions about their electorate, questions that could easily have been asked in a briefing directly to their minister, when ministers choose to answer questions through long, drawn-out and sometimes repetitive answers, and when members of both parties use it for political point scoring, that means we all lose out. Estimates is not a time for campaigning, it's a public accountability mechanism. And the structure of the hearings also places unnecessary strain on everyone involved, on the committee members, on the DLA staff, and on the agencies themselves. The long hours and the packed schedule are difficult to manage and in some cases counterproductive. I note that last year the member for Araluen gave a dissenting report noting this, and I look forward, or I hope that our reflections on the process this year can help us work towards managing that better. I came to estimates this year with questions about every single portfolio. The member for Drysdale, who was our amazing record keeper, may have the stats of how many I actually got to ask. I've got no idea. But I can tell the Chamber and all of those people in my community who had questions that they wanted answered, what I can tell them is that every single question I didn't get to ask, I put in as written questions. And the current tally is more than 50 pages of questions, and I'm still compiling. I know that the public servants will already have the answers to these as they would have had in their preparation for estimates. We did learn a lot of things though as part of this process, and here's a small snapshot of some of the things that I heard for those people who didn't have the joy of listening to the whole 60 hours. The Chief Minister acknowledged that ICAC has serious concerns and that there will be a process to look at this, but could give no detail or time frame of what that might be. The Chief Minister reaffirmed the CLP's support for Spithoods despite the previous Ombudsman's statement on the risks of serious harm, limited effectiveness and the benefits of alternative measures. The Ombudsman said they're expecting 600 police complaints this year and that they're anticipating their corrections complaints will be down from previous years, saying, and I quote, "We consider this decrease may be due to a number of factors, including the inability of prisoners to access our office, potentially due to lockdowns and being accommodated in watch houses." When asked, I was told there's no process in place to address challenges for prisoners to make complaints due to overcrowded prisoners. The Minister for Corrections later said perhaps, in fact, they were going down because prison conditions were improving. He also said that people could complain to the official visitor, And when asked about the official visitor, we were told that there's only been one official visitor covering all adult prisons across the entire Northern Territory who managed just 7 visits in the last year. Official visitors are vital for keeping prisons accountable and protecting prisoner wellbeing. One person simply cannot oversee a prison population in a territory with the world's second highest incarceration rate. And one official visitor, despite the fact that the law states the minister must appoint at least 3 official visitors for each custodial correctional facility. Excuse me, to go on. We heard that the Territory Coordinator employs at least 16 staff, has a budget of $6.4 million, but is yet to fast-track any projects or create designated areas of economic significance. And we heard the Chief Minister tell us that she stands by the appointment of the Territory Coordinator and the process for that, including the removal of eligibility requirements from the Act, because she said the position is not an integrity position. We heard that the Treasury issued homeowner grants under a law that was not yet passed because they knew it would pass. Isn't there meant to be a separation of powers? And if the department can do what they want before a law is passed, it raises the question to me about what's the point of us being in this room here in Parliament. We heard that because of the high levels of disadvantage, the Northern Territory government gets 5 times more GST money per person than most other states, over $3 billion a year. But Treasury told us there's no way to track how this money is spent or if it's actually helping those in need. The Chair stopped me from asking the Minister for Multicultural Affairs how his views on Charles Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest, as he expressed in this chamber, when he said, "I will talk about something that shaped my thinking. This is from science. Charles Darwin's survival of the fittest theory is a well-known theory from long ago. It still rings true in many ways. People are born with different strengths and talents, and not all parts are equal. Not all people can do the same things." The Minister has said very clearly this informs his decision-making. This is the Minister responsible for disability, for multicultural affairs and equity. I was told this question was hypothetical, which is difficult to understand, given the Minister is in a role making significant financial and policy decisions about the delivery of services to people experiencing discrimination in our society on the basis of race, ethnicity, religion, age and disability. This is tangible, not hypothetical, and the community wants to know how the Minister's stated views affect that decision-making. I was told that this question was not part of the purpose of estimates. Estimates exist to test how money is spent, and preventing scrutiny of a minister's public views in making decisions about how that money is spent, I think, fundamentally undermines our purpose. We heard from Minister Maley that there's no specific climate change strategy, that it's just embedded in our thinking, and that they're looking into how we can grow the cows faster to reduce emissions. We heard the Minister also confirm that total revenue from mining and petroleum royalties is just $298 million out of the Territory's $10.4 billion in total revenue, less than 3%. Despite what we heard in this chamber in March, we heard that corrections would no longer be staffing or using police watch houses. The Minister confirmed corrections prisoners are still being held in watch houses, some for as long as 11 days, subjected to 24-hour artificial light and no access to outdoor space. Noting the time, I've got many more things I could list, but I'll just go to the... Can you get an extension of time on these? No, okay. So that's just a snapshot. There's so much more. But Mr Deputy Speaker, I want to end by reaffirming my strong support for the estimates process. It's one of the few formal mechanisms we have for real accountability and transparency. I welcome every opportunity we get to shine a light on how decisions are made and how public money is spent. Even within the constraints of limited time and sometimes the misuse of that time, we saw just how much can be uncovered when questions are asked with purpose. Territorians deserve nothing less than openness, honesty and access to information, because ultimately that's our job, and democracy works best when governments are ready and prepared to answer to the people they serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Member for Johnston.